Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here, and it is Wednesday. Yeah, I started to say the wrong day. It's Wednesday, July 19th. And that reminds me, being Wednesday, that Cash will be here for his guitar lesson later today. Cash has been making pretty good progress. He's kind of laxed off just a little bit. I might have to light a fire under that young man today. He slacked off on his practice a little bit, but overall he's making good progress. I'm anxious for him to be able to pick and sing and play rhythm and everything to one song and get that on video for you guys. But he's been struggling with that a little bit. Hopefully, maybe we'll make some more good progress today. We had a great jam at Dickey's Barbecue Pit in Rolla, Missouri last night. In fact, it was probably our biggest close to sell-out jam we've had. There was only a table or two that was vacant throughout most of the evening. Most folks came and stayed for most of the show, so it was good. We had a great time. If you're ever in the Rolla, Missouri area on a Tuesday evening, be sure to stop by Dickey's Barbecue Pit in Rolla there. 6 to 8:30 we play, and we don't even take a break. We just play the whole time, which was what really threw my buddy Tim from, well, I think he's from Tennessee. I can't remember. I get all the people and places mixed up, but he came and jammed with us that night. That's what amazed him, was that we didn't even take a break. Anyway, that also reminds me that next Thursday, not tomorrow, but next Thursday, next week Thursday, July 27th, 7 p.m., we'll be live right here on YouTube, the whole band, and we're planning to do about probably 2 45-minute set type show, so we'll be on from about 7 to 9, something like that. We will take a short break in the middle there, and I'm going to try to find some sort of a video that will entertain you during that break so that you'll have something to watch during that whole time. So be sure to put that on your calendar, mark your smartphones with reminders, etc., and it'll be next Thursday, the 27th at 7 o'clock p.m. my time. So be sure to be there if you can. I had a little short commute to work again this morning, which pretty much every morning. So here's a little short video on that. Take a look. Well, it rained most of the day yesterday, and it's relatively dry this morning, but everything's greened up again. At least I assume it has. I can't tell much difference myself, but generally after a good rain, it greens up again. And thought I'd just take you along for my little commute to work this morning. There's squirrels running across the yard. Here goes another one up there way. I don't know if you can see them. There's one right there by the little tree. Yeah, there he's going across the driveway. There's quite a few squirrels around here. Mostly gray squirrels. We do have a few red fox squirrels. I can hear the martins already. It's just nice and peaceful out here. Jennifer and Alex left early yesterday because of all the rain. And so I was kind of sad for them because it kind of put a damper on their fun time, but we really needed the rain, so it's hard to be sad about the rain. You can see how nice and damp the garden looks. Well, her corn took a beating. The winds and things knocked a lot of her corn down. This is all broom corn, so it's just for making brooms and things anyway, but it's still kind of bad that it knocked it all down. You can see how green everything is out this way. just kind of pleasant out here this morning. A little bit humid, but temperatures are probably upper 60s, somewhere in there. So not bad on the temperatures. And we'll go in and make our vlog. Well, yeah, it did rain most of the day yesterday, and it is kind of sad because that kind of put a damper on things for Alex and Jennifer and their family, because they like to be here on the farm and do things, and it didn't stop them too much. They went out and did stuff in the rain, but you know how that is. It kind of wears on you after a little while, so they made plans to leave a little early yesterday. We do have a few questions popping up. There's a question from, I think, the last vlog that was at the end here, so let me just run through that one real quick. Rooster Run Workshop says, good morning, Jerry. If you ever want to sell your Dremel lighted base, I'm interested. Well, yeah, I don't plan to sell really anything. I'm not going to sell any of my tools. I'm not going to sell any of my wood or anything like that, at least not now. There's lots of other reasons why I use all that stuff, not necessarily just for instruments. I use most everything I've got here in the shop more often than you would think. There's a few things I'll probably never use that I have that potentially I might sell, but that would come up down the road if that happens. John Dobermix says, on your website, if you don't want to use PayPal, how do you do that? You can just use a regular credit card. It looks like you're forced into PayPal, but when you get right to the end there, you can just actually choose pay with a credit card or something like that. I know lots of folks do it that way, so you can do that. I know I'm not the expert myself because I don't buy stuff off my own website. It's hard to explain it. You can't test the stuff, a lot of it. It's just live, when you do it, and so I don't get to test it too much, so I don't get to walk through it. But there is a way to do it. You can just pay with a regular credit card. Kim Williford says, how is Sue's horse doing? And that one's throwing me a curve there because she didn't mention anything to me about one of her horses not doing well, so I'm assuming they're all doing okay. But sorry, Kim, I just don't know. John, what it says to do, it doesn't work. Well, I don't know, John. I'm pretty positive you can just pay with a regular credit card. I'm just 99.9% sure, in fact. Unless something's tore up, but I don't think anything's tore up on the site right now. I could be wrong. Kim says she's glad I'm feeling better. Well, the truth is, I've still really got it pretty bad. In fact, I'm a little bit on the horse side. It don't go away quick. I don't feel too terribly bad, but it does load up your lungs pretty good. Let's see, horse trailer status. I wanted to give you an update. I did work on the horse trailer for about an hour yesterday, but then the rain started coming, and that kind of put a damper on that. Mostly all I did was clean out crevices and cracks. There's lots of old cracks and joints and things where they had been caulked, and most of that stuff was sealing in rust and sand and dirt and all that. So I cleaned most of that out, vacuumed it out. That's about all I got done yesterday. It was a little too damp to sand anything. It loads up the sandpaper quick enough the way it is, and when it gets wet, it really loads it up. So I'm going to have to put that project on hold for a day or two until it dries up really good. Probably won't work on the horse trailer today. There is an outside chance I may go up and hang those windows in the house today if weather cooperates and it doesn't get too terribly hot. And that, again, will just put me that much closer to getting started on the pond project, which will include the water wheel. I'm looking forward to that, and it's really going to be a big deal. Let's see. The next thing, Speaking of the window project up there, I mentioned to you that Alex had really tore all that off for me and got it prepared for me. Well, he ran into a uninvited guest there, so take a look at this. Yeah, that's well, you could just call it a hornet's nest, but actually it's a yellow jacket's nest. Yellow jackets are a type of hornet. I don't know all the details, so I can't claim to be any kind of expert, but I do know that yellow jackets are a type of hornet. They're a very small hornet. They're smaller than a honeybee. And he started tapping on that wood, and boy, they started fogging out of there, Well, I went and got spray and started spraying back in there, which knocked him down quite a bit. No one got stung, fortunately, which is kind of unusual with yellow jackets because they're not real friendly, but nobody got stung. And you can see the paper nest that they built, and from the size of that nest and everything, I would say they had just been there this spring is what I'm guessing. Maybe they started last year and this is the result of from last year to now. But it wouldn't be much more than that, I don't think. Anyway, they're not fun when you run into those guys. Yeah, you got to get rid of those. So anyway, let's see. What else have we got here this morning? I wanted to mention that I am still getting a lot of emails and requests and people more or less begging me to go back into Luthery and work on their instrument. One last instrument, they say, could I talk you into just doing this job, and I'm refusing all of them. I'm sorry, I just am. The hands have not gotten any better, and it's one of those deals where, a sharp knife cuts the cleanest, and I'm just going to make it a clean cut, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. It's sad, but I'm just not. It's not to say you won't see anything like that on the channel in the future, because I might, but it'll be either for me or a very close personal friend, like in the band or something like that. But it's only going to be that type of situation in the future. And I consider pretty much everybody watching this a friend, but the truth is I just can't say yes to one of you because that will open the floodgates for sure. And so I'm turning down all the requests, and I've had quite a few. You'd be surprised how many I've had. I am taking Zoom calls, though, if anybody does want to schedule a Zoom call for, some kind of project help or for instance, instead of me doing the work, if you wanted to try to tackle it yourself and you want me to help you with some ideas or thoughts or something, you can, schedule a Zoom call with me. And the way to schedule that right now is just to send me an email. And again, be patient because I'm not real fast on my emails these days. I just am swamped with stuff, it seems like, all the time. And quite honestly, it's harder to be motivated to go into the office now since I'm not really doing the work as a business. But I'm trying to stay up on it, and I did catch up on quite a bit of it yesterday. Do we have any other questions? Alan White says, is that cave on your property a bear cave? Love your videos. Well, it's not as of yet, but you never know. If a bear decides to move in, it's his cave. I'm not going to try to talk him out of it. But not so far. And so far, we really haven't seen much sign of other animals living in there. I mean, we see tracks like raccoon tracks and things and possum tracks and things, but that's about it so far. But it wouldn't surprise me of a bobcat or, something like that. I don't think a bobcat would make a home in there because there's not enough small places for a bobcat to go back into and hide. Bobcats generally have a really small, den type thing with a small entrance. And as far as I know, there's no small entrances, side entrances or anything off of there for the bobcats. But anyway, we do have a lot of bobcats here, by the way. Quite a few, actually. Let's see. Hugh Caldwell says, does the species of wood used for bracing make a difference in the tone of an acoustic instrument? Well, I would say, Hugh, that most people would say yes, and I would tend to agree with that. Can you really hear the difference is the real question. Often so many of these things are, I'm just say it the way I feel. This is just my opinion. And I feel like most of the stuff is overhyped on instruments. People like to make it more than it is, and they like to romanticize the heck out of it. And, like, oh, the stuff with Stradivari, they just make up all kinds of crud. It was the salt water that makes them sound good because he floated his logs in salt water. It was that special varnish he made. He crushed up wings, and he did this and he did that. And, just on and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, it's just hyped up crap if you really want to know about it. The truth is, Stradivari and most really good builders just have a lot of experience and do it really well. And that's where 90% of your sound comes from, is being able to do what you do very well. And that comes with experience and comes with building a lot of instruments and working on a lot of instruments. Having said that, yes, I still think that the wood, of course, does make a difference. There's no point in starting with, just average non-tonal wood. You know what I mean? Like you pick up a piece of oak, for instance, and you tap on it and you go thunk, and there's nothing there. You pick up a piece of spruce or a piece of, like Paduke or rosewood, and you hear it tong, and you hear it sustain. Yeah, there you go. That's what you want to use. So in terms of the bracewood specifically, I would say 90 percentile people are going to use the same bracewood that's in their top. In other words, if you got a spruce top, you're going to use spruce braces and etc. I don't think it would be any kind of a problem at all to have a spruce top and use, like, say, redwood bracing, or use Western cedar bracing, or vice versa. If you used Western cedar or redwood top, I don't think it would hurt anything if you use spruce bracing. Spruce is a little stiffer, a little bit more firm than the redwood and the Western cedar. Western cedar and redwood, in my opinion, are your best woods to build your first instrument with, and they're still great for building your 1,000th instrument. They're great. It's great instrument wood. It's really hard to build a bad instrument with redwood or Western cedar. It's for your top. Now, you don't use those for your back and your sides. You want a hardwood for your back and your sides. And again, my test is always pick up the board and tap on it. If you can hear a tone and it kind of sustains, then you probably can use that wood just fine. And that's really the true test of it, without all the other hype, it's got to be this and it's got to be that, and you have to do exactly this. And most of that's hype. I mean, you can believe what you want, but most of it's hype. I like to get down to the brass tacks and the common sense of it. And that is the brass tacks and the common sense of it. And it's also the same way with the glue. It's just overhyped and hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped and hyped about the glue. You got to use this kind of glue. Stradivari used this as the only thing he would use. Well, it's because it's the only thing he had. I guarantee you, Stradivari, as picky as he was and as the quality of everything he did, I guarantee you he'd be using better glue today. Guarantee you. There ain't no doubt in my mind, not that much doubt. Because he was a smart man, and he knows, to be smart, you want to use the best stuff. I mean, that's just bottom line common sense again, Absolutely guarantee you. Those other people that are out there in that left field that have to use, hide glue because that's the only thing that Stradivari did. That's the only thing you can take apart. Well, I've proved 1,000,000 times over you can take Titebond apart. In fact, I think you can take it apart easier. It's certainly more consistent than hide glue when it comes to taking it apart. So there you go. So that's what I mean. Just get rid of all the hype. Just think about the common sense side of it, and you'll be fine. Let's see. Looks like well, Alan's asking, I think, has it ever been explored? I think he's talking about the cave. Well, the girls just went in the cave all the way to the back of it just the other day. There was a video out on that. 3 female spelunkers entered the Bat Cave. And, you might say, well, that's just all hype and, clickbait. Well, it kind of is. I ain't going to lie to you. But on the other hand, it is a bat cave. There are bats living in it, They crawl up in the little crevices and stuff. You can't hardly ever see them, but they're in there. Let's see. Bill Dedrick. Jerry, have you heard 14-year-old Wyatt Ellis play mandolin? Yeah, I don't know for sure, honestly. I'm bad with names. I don't think so. But there's so many darn good mandolin players out there. Yeah, there's just so many of them. I mean, I can imagine how good he is. I really can, because there's so many of them out there. Oh, no. Lost sound? Someone said lost sound. Well, I don't think so. It's showing up like it's working here, but I don't think so. I don't know. If you all are telling me I've lost sound, I'll believe it. But so far, that's only one person saying that. Oh, he said operator error on my end. Sorry. Okay. All right. Never mind. Forget that. Kim Williford, how is JR doing? He had one video of the horse show out. I watched it and loved it. Nothing else is new. Is he still having trouble with his channel? Yeah, he is having trouble. There was kind of a hostile takeover, some kind of thing that somebody, just scumbag people are out there all over the place. It's kind of like a virus type thing where somebody can come in on your channel and divert your revenue to them and, all this kind of stuff. And thank you, God, I haven't had that yet, but it could happen. I mean, everybody's susceptible to it. I think his channel was growing so fast is why that happened to him. Anyway, he was doing really well. And I don't know if you haven't seen JR's horse show video where he went to the draft horse show. Take a look at that. Boy, that's impressive. And, they've got as many as 6 draft horses pulling a wagon. Just think about the logistics of that. If you don't come to a horse show like that with a little 2-horse trailer. First of all, you got to have a big enough rig to haul 6 giant draft horses. Then you got to have another rig or the same rig that's really huge to haul that huge trailer that they're pulling. And, all the other rig and harnesses and, oh my gosh, it is a thing. It's a real thing. I can't even imagine being into that end of the business. We were into horses and we went to a lot of horse shows, but for the most part, you can get by with just a pickup truck and a 2-horse trailer for the most part. Those guys can't get by that way. It's a whole thing. It's like moving your whole barn, really. It's amazing. So if you haven't seen that video of JR's on homestead horsemanship, be sure to check it out. It's really good and it's very entertaining. You'll like it, I think. All right, I'm going to take a couple more questions and get off here. Looks like Bill Dedrick, Vince Gill compares Wyatt Ellis to Marty Stewart, Ricky Skaggs, Sierra Hull when they were the same age. Well, I sure wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Yeah, I'll tell you, you get those young kids, if they've got it in their mind to do it, yeah, good luck keeping up with them. That's the comment I always get with my students. People come up and say, where do you find these musical genius kids? Well, if you catch them at the right age and if they've got the willpower and you just give them some direction, the rest is history and all you see is taillights leaving. I mean, they just pass you up and they're gone, They're in 6 months, they're playing stuff I couldn't play if I played for 10 years, practice for 10 years, I mean. Rooster Run Workshop. What are your take on cigar box guitars? Well, Rooster Run, I don't want to offend anyone. That's not my intent ever on this kind of thing. But if you're asking my opinion, I'm also not going to lie to you. I am not into any kind of novelty instrument at all. I mean, I just don't care for them at all. They're just not my thing. I know lots of people get into them and like to make them and have fun with them and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not me. So that's my opinion, I guess. I just don't really care for them at all, to be honest. Christia Thompson, that looks like the last comment here. That draft horse show video was excellent. Can't wait to see Oliver and JR compete. Yeah, JR is got plans to, break Oliver, the draft horse that he rescued, which is also doing very well. I honestly didn't expect him to do as well as he's doing. The videos, at the beginning, I really thought JR was hyping it a little bit, to be honest with you. I thought, well, son, I think you're overdoing it a little bit about how bad this horse is. And then I got to see him up close and personal. He wasn't hyping it. That horse was in bad shape. That horse was a week from death. I believe that. I really firmly believe that he was just 1 week from death. JR got him at the right moment and nursed him back to health. And he's filled out. He's looking good. He's gained a ton of weight. He's a big horse now. Versus he was just kind of an average size horse when he got here. And a horse of his age should have been half again as big as he was, you know what I mean? And he is that big now. He's really put on the weight and doing very well. And the vet medicines and things that they got for him to combat that possum disease. Horses are prone to a disease if they eat hay that has got possum urine or, feces in it, whatever. And, to be honest with you, it's kind of hard not to have that happen in a barn because possums get in barns, and it's just kind of one of those things. And so you have to be very careful about that when you're feeding hay from horses and stuff. And of course, that all happened before JR got the horse. Let's see, anything else here? I think that's going to be it. Yeah, Christy is saying, Oliver's transformation is a testament to JR's and the family's skill and their heart. That's true. JR and the family, his whole family, they're all really, truly animal lovers. I am not so much what you call an animal lover. I definitely don't mistreat animals. I definitely want to take care of them. If I have them, they're going to get very, very, very good care. But I'm just not into animals. And again, I feel like I have to say this kind of in my defense because most everybody is into animals. I grew up on a horse farm and a dog farm. And my dad had 50 to 60 head of horses all the time. And he had anywhere from 10 to 30 beagles at a time. And all I did was clean stalls, shovel you-know-what, and fill up water barrels. And it was just all work for me. And I never saw an ounce of reward. It was all work. And my dad was incredibly strict. And if I didn't do it according to the way he wanted it done, well, that meant the hickory stick, And seriously, I would have welts on my back. He was not, I don't mean to say that he was a unkind, a mean person. He was a super, super strict person. And that's all I can really say about that. And I learned a lot from him, and I love him, and, he's gone, and I miss him. But, it was, it wasn't no simple way to grow up. And that's why I'm just not into the animals. That's all. I mean, when you grow up that way, you tend to have a little different outlook. But like I said, I don't hate animals or anything. It's just I don't have any big desires to be involved with them that much. So I'm going to let that be the last word for today. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. We got 92 viewers. Oh, by the way, I thought I'd just tell you real quick what kind of happened to the yesterday's vlog. I started it early, and you know how it just seems like if it can, it will, that kind of thing. Well, I set it up to start it at, I think, 8 o'clock, something like that. I can't remember now. But anyway, I set it up for a certain time. Well, then I went in and changed it to an earlier time. Well, I'm not a real good reader, and it changed something. And if I'd have, really paid attention and read it closely, I would have realized that it had switched titles on me and changed. It just changes stuff. You got to be really careful with this whole software thing, and I don't know which software changed what on that one. I don't know if that was YouTube, Google type thing that changed it, or if it was this Streamlabs that changed it. But something changed it without. And had I been paying attention, I'm going to have to say it as my own fault. I just didn't catch it. But anyway, that's what happened to yesterday's video. It had the wrong title on it for a while, and it was just messed up for a while. And then I noticed it about an hour later and straightened it out. So if you didn't, if you were waiting for the live one to start yesterday and it never started, that's why. It switched titles on me and I started the wrong title. Yeah, there you go. Do you believe me now? It's not easy being me. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.